Now, once the entire shell of the room is done, the floors have been completed, the walls and the ceilings have been painted, sit in the room for a little while, start coming up with ideas. Let the room at this point dictate to what you'll need, because the next step, layer number 3, is high-ticket upholstery items. So you're gonna have to shell out a couple of bucks here. What you wanna do is make sure that you're investing in the right things. How do you buy a high-ticket item for now that's supposed to last you many, many years? Well, you wanna think in terms of solid color, and you also wanna think in terms of texture. Now, when we're talking about neutral in your high-ticket items, neutral doesn't mean beige. You see these beautiful light chartreuse club chairs that we really love. Then you see here a deep rust oversized ottoman, which was quite smart looking, but you'll notice they're either solid color or they're solid color with texture. That means any accent fabrics that come later is going to be an enjoyable experience because everything's going to go with everything else. Now, here you see a very textured sofa. Actually, this is a backless settee. This backless settee is a deep, deep, rich honey color, which is very nice. And then you see a very beige sofa over here. Right now, this sofa doesn't seem to be connecting with anything else in the room, but we're going to show you a little later how you can cross-pollinate color to make everything look very integrated. Now, also in this layer, expensive side chairs like this are also considered part of your high-ticket upholstery items. These are chairs that you're not going to be able to cover yourself, so these go out to the upholsterer at the same time. Little dining room chairs where you can simply pop out a seat and recover it, that's accent fabric, and that's later. Okay, so let's take a look at furniture placement very quickly. Now, I know you're saying, Christopher, you know, you got your sofa up against the wall. Well, we've done that for a purpose. We want to create dual area groupings in this long sort of boxcar living room. We have this sofa here with a cross-linking device with a very nice pattern fabric here. We're going to need, obviously, something here. This is our cross-linking device. This separates these two spaces, but becomes part of the two spaces by virtue of the fact that it's backless. So 2 people can be sitting here comfortably because it's very deep. 2 people can sit here comfortably. And rather than us doing a big oversized coffee table, we've made it dual function. Now we have a nice big ottoman here, which can be used on trays for drinks, or you can put your feet up on it. And during a party situation, people can sit here. And lastly, we have the 2 club chairs. So from here, I can sit and enjoy the fireplace, and way down there at the end of the room, it's a clean shot all the way. So there are no bad views in the house. This is layer number 3. There now, that wasn't bad, was it? Okay, well, while we're at this point, to really show you how you can save some money, let's take a look at some of those fabric choices. Now, one of the things we talked about is what is considered background fabric and what is considered accent fabric. Let's review. First of all, let's take a look at our drawing. Now, I thought you'd be interested to see how I start the process. Now, again, if you start with a shell of a room, go ahead and take a Polaroid of that room and draw right on that Polaroid, or use the photocopier to do what I've just done. Here you see the shell of my room completed. In my next overlay, this is just on tissue paper, I started drawing where those accent fabrics were gonna go, and we're gonna play up these windows big time, and we'll begin to add those accessories. Here, when we see our final layer, once I've drawn out what my wish list is, now things will change. Some things worked someplace and some things didn't work another place, all right? But this is a great exercise. Dollar for dollar, every stroke of lead that you put here is probably going to save you a lot of money. And what's important to understand here is, now that I'm seeing kind of how much I think that room will hold, now I want to decide, where do I want my solid fabrics? What are the most expensive pieces? Big chairs, the big ottoman, the big sofas, the big settee here. And where are my opportunities for my accent fabrics? And I'll look around the room and discover those. Now, let's take a look at some fabrics here. Let me remove this. All right. When I talk about neutral fabrics, I don't mean beige. It can be as solid and rich a color as this beautiful plum color. It can be as solid and rich a color as this beautiful teal color. The thing is, this is what you build into the room. Your accent fabrics are what you can replace, and the accent fabrics tend to be the things that are dated the quickest, all right? So that nonsense about find a lovely fabric for your drape and build your whole room around it doesn't make any sense. What does that mean? So you're gonna spend thousands of dollars on a sofa, thousands of dollars on area rugs, thousands of dollars on all of that furniture for a couple of yards of fabric? Doesn't make any sense, because it's those yards of fabric that you're going to be able to change the easiest. All right, let's talk about the accent fabrics. All right, let's say we've got some solids here, and it's any range you want. You want to be thinking texturally as well as solid. If I add this as my drapes and my pillows as my accent color, Suddenly what happens? This is where the eye goes. This simply becomes background. This is what the pillows should be made out of. This is what the drapes should be made out of. This stuff here you've got already built in. You can't change this stuff. This you can change. This has a wonderful, playful, whimsical attitude just by showing you this fabric. Let me take that one away and show another one. This has a very classic look to it with a stripe combination, which is very pretty. Stripe, a lighter solid and a darker solid is a beautiful look. And all I'm doing, a totally different look, is just changing the fabric. Let's take a look at this one. This is a beautiful country look. Isn't that great? So this is how it works. Yes, it's wonderful in your accent fabrics to have the other colors of the rooms represented. That's perfectly fine. It's just that you don't want to build those colors solidly into your room. Let's do another one. Okay. Now, here you see a rather dead-looking fabric. This is a little boring, but just remember, this is the next layer in the shell of your room. But I can either go country cottage just by choosing a country cottage print. This is what you'll change, that you'll keep, hopefully the life of your sofa if you've made a good construction choice. Now I can lighten that whole thing up and put volumes of this kind of fabric, which, because it's so high key and predominantly terrific looking here, and it's more of a softer pattern, that's going to give me a very sort of bungalow look. I can go a very contemporary look with this watercolor. Against that, I've just changed the mood of it again. Are you getting me here? Okay, this is where you spend the money. This is where you have fun. When it gets dated, you go, bye-bye. Now, there are a couple of fabrics that are what I call transitional fabrics. That would be fabrics like these. This is a pattern fabric, but it's basically a pattern-on-pattern combination. All right? If you squint your eyes and look at this pattern in volume, and if you squint your eyes and look at this, though it has pattern, it's heavy textured. If you squint your eyes and step back about 2 feet and it looks solid to you, then it's okay to use this as an upholstery fabric. All right? So these are those heavily textured fabrics that still, all said and done, you can add other fabrics to, and you've still got some dimension. Okay? Very good.